Again with another Dent Digest live show, episode number 24. We've got a special guest here, John from Mobile Tech RX. What's up, man?
Man, special guest. It's like there's somebody over my shoulder.
I feel like I just saw you. You know, it was like yesterday.
It feels like yesterday for me because I left that show and did another one, and yeah, it's been crazy. Well, we really appreciate you having us on and getting a chance to talk with your users and talk with you. I know we didn't get much of a chance to even speak at the show.
No, it was you were crazy. Your new marketing guy seems awesome.
Yeah, Matt is killing it. His brain power absolutely floors me. I didn't know we could do that stuff on our YouTube channel. I felt like I was like back in the third grade. It was just like, oh, so cat isn't spelled with a K. You know, because he's got all these like flashing banners and he's got some remarkable talent.
So I announced last week that I was doing a giveaway, and Anson PDR was nice enough to donate some glue. So pretty much they had to comment on Manny's Instagram page, my Instagram page, and my YouTube page. So I ended it at 8 o'clock. Actually, it was a little later. It was actually 8:14, and I ran it through a randomizer, and it was Lee from the Dent Ding King.
Oh, nice.
Won at 8:15. So Lee, make sure you get me your contact information. I'll get this glue out to you. It couldn't have gone to a nicer guy. Have you ever met Lee?
Yeah.
Oh man, he is one of a kind.
Yeah, he's an awesome guy. He's a lot of fun.
So you know, one of the big things, I don't know if you guys have seen, I'm working with Randy Hobson in a project for Maria from A1 Tools. And what we're doing is we're trying to get all the techs to do short clip videos, and we're sending them to her, actually sending them to John Kallenbach every Wednesday. So Wednesday, she's going to get a little 6 to 8 text video just saying, hey, some encouragement. We're thinking of you. So if you guys haven't done that yet, I'm going to put my email address in here, do a quick little video, send it to me. If you don't feel comfortable being on video, just send me a text with some comments in there if that's easier for you.
Send some love.
Yeah, I mean, I was on last night with Clifton and Brandy, and like Clifton said, even if you don't want to, just put something together. You know, she's definitely part of the Paintless Dent Repair family that's out there.
I can't imagine what she's going through either. That is absolutely insane.
It's
I sent a video off right away. So as soon as I heard Randy was doing that, I threw that video up. So you guys, you've all done a little bit of Facebook Live and taken a few selfies. Just throw in a 30-second, let her know that the community's behind her. And we're all looking forward to when she gets back on her feet and back to work. She's got a long, tough road ahead of her.
Yeah. And I said last night, I think a lot of it's going to be mental for her, because she is, you know, a nice looking lady, and, you know, it's going to be tough for her. It's going to be a tough road. So she'll be fine. The good thing is Randy talked to John and said that she's doing very well. You know, she'll be in the hospital for a little longer, but, you know, the process is it just takes time, you know.
And it's going to take a lot of time. Burns. Well, Clifton, he can give a firsthand example of what it takes to recover from.
Yes. Yeah. He was, you know, he's got a whole episode coming out of his whole story. So a lot of guys don't know it.
I don't know the whole story. I just know, you know, I know a couple other people that have gone through and had the very similar scars. And so, yeah, it's
he's a badass is what I said. He really is. I mean, there's no easy, if you get to know, and you guys get to see Clifton, he's a larger than life. He's a massive man, you know, so, and the absolute nicest guy ever.
Yeah.
You know, so,
but
I wanted to get,
I got to sit on your shoulders before we get even with you.
You're right. You're right. I mean, he is just a big dude.
Yeah.
So I want to get started. We're going to cram pack this with some information on what you guys have coming on, some new updates, some new, things that are coming and things that have already been implemented. So let's get into that so we have enough time for you and
All right.
let's go.
Well, one of the first things, we'll bring up the analytics, and then I'll kind of bring the app on the screen, and we'll highlight some of what I talked about earlier this year about some changes that are going to start happening this fall. They'll be implemented slowly, and I know you said you had a couple of users ask you about that.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll throw my the back office up here. And so what you're looking at is the new analytics portion that is available. It's our max package for your subscription will be the analytics, and that will include the analytics, comparative pricing being company wide. And what the analytics does for your company is it allows you to come in and you get to look and actually put a microscope into every aspect of your company. So this is the test account for those that have seen any of the my YouTube videos, my tutorial videos, any of the webinars. This is that account. So in that account, I've invoiced this amount of dollars for this many vehicles, which pretty much all one single Toyota. That poor car. They average out this amount. So this will go throughout the whole history. So if you've been, like Ryan with you, your history of Mobile Tech, it would cover every single minute that you have been inside of Mobile Tech RX.
Yeah, that's crazy.
This is the services and what they break down and the percentages that are in there that make up all of those dollars. And then as you can see, in April was apparently the height of my time. So if we click on that, when I was doing the most webinars, then we can see I was really doing a lot in Price a Dent. And I didn't do very much for hail repair, did some in paint and body. And then these are all the technicians that are now my alias is somewhere on a government website. So all the work that each one has done. But as you can see, as I scroll through these, it breaks down all of that information and explains what it is, the way you can sort them. You guys that have multiple locations, Stephen Hamby is a really good example of that. If any of you have seen his video about this, he's got a couple locations, so he can use the map. I don't have any clients. I never put clients in with addresses, so my map doesn't show up. But his will show on a map with those multiple shop locations and how much money each location brings in. So then he's capable of tailoring that down and just looking at that.
So like in my instance, I have a ton of body shops. So would it show all the pins for the different body shops, or how does that work?
Not so much, because it would show them by town. So it kind of shows them by town, by zip code type thing.
Okay.
So because they would all be in one town, it's only going to show you like one town where everybody is at. And that's what mine does. Mine shows like Rapid City, South Dakota, because that was the only address I ever put in that test account.
Okay.
So yeah, I have no map. I just have a little word, Rapid City, and I can look at it and it's like, your whole company, stupid. But when we go in, if we want to look at our client detail in great detail, we can see how much was invoiced, vehicles, those averages, and what share of business it is. So then we can start tailoring it down, and we can click on each of our individual clients, and we can start seeing how many vehicles and what share of our business those clients are. So when you come down here, and let's say John Doe has just been my pain in the butt to work with, they're the neediest. Here I am, one quick snapshot. I point, I click, I look, they're only 2% of my business. So if you have a problem client and you discover that they're only that, but you got this guy over here who's doing pretty good, you're seeing a lot of cars from him, but he's 11%, maybe we should try to turn him to 13 or 14%, and you'd have a better outcome for your time spent.
Yeah.
Because you get.
I like how it's detailed. How you can almost customize it to your liking, to where it'll really show you the customers that aren't. When you're doing work every day, you're not paying attention if it's a customer that's a pain in the butt or not.
It is. It's easy to get lost in the grand scheme of your own business. I mean, we've all been there. So, um, can't over.
So
I'll
the
get to
Dent
that
Reaper,
in just a little bit here,
perfect.
and we'll go through that after I go through a little bit more on here. But yeah, if anybody out there, if you're listening, type those questions up, and Ryan and I will go through them afterwards. So you can do the same with your text too. So you can get in and you can look at your techs as a group and be able to see how much your techs as a whole did, and then you can compare a singular technician to your whole company's techs, so to the totals across to everybody. And again, if you want, you can change it from the amount billed to the number of vehicles repaired. So you really got a lot of different ways. I mean, once you're going through all of these, and click on this, everything is sortable in some mannerism. So you can really taper stuff down. For those of you that want to get into your services, we can, since how this is a PDR show, we'll kind of stick with the PDR screens. But here it is as a hail in your overview. And you see, as I was moving my cursor around, it was really bouncing around. But you see the overall averages across every panel.
That fender.
Hail.
I want that fender every time.
That fender totaled out this poor Toyota many times. So when you pop that up, and you hover over that, it'll also give you a little insight as to what makes that up. But your number of vehicles, the averages, the oversized dents per vehicle. For those of you, if you're running a hail crew at all, and this is subcontractors and employees. So even if you have a local hail gig at home, you got guys working for you, you can click on this by tech, and you can actually see how much they average the oversize per vehicle. How many vehicles they've fixed, how many dollars they've invoiced. If you want to see, if you're forced to use other hail matrices, here you can look through and you can see what percentage each one of those hail matrices provided as your company's income level. And then where they are versus your company as an overall average, and then which ones are above average and which ones are falling well below average. And I would not take anything that John has done in this screen as a promise at all, because I somehow doubt Liberty Mutual would be the highest average by means. But then we can actually go into it with the techs and each matrix. And you can actually see which techs are using which matrix and what percent of the income that they bring into your company comes from that.
Now, is this printable stuff that they can print?
There is. So there's a lot you can print out. You can export some of it, and it's constantly evolving because this is just released. It's kind of been a pre-release right now, and it won't get the major announcement release until after the first of the year. So we're taking all that feedback of users, what they're missing, the data that they want, and we're constantly tweaking and making some changes. So it'll kind of keep tailoring around and coming back up as time goes on. So for your wholesale PDR work and route, you're looking at it in that same mannerism. So you're seeing with all panels that you're getting paid to do. And same with the price of dent. When you're in on price of dent, you're seeing what your average is per vehicle, per charges, per panels. So it's really in depth. This is a pretty minor snapshot of what it is, what it can do. As far as your analytics go, I mean, it just delves in there really deep. It would take a great many hours just to get all the way through it. So
yeah. Now, what's the benefit of this for some of these guys that already have Mobile Tech RX? Just give a breakdown.
Is truly understanding the direction you want to take your company. So just like finding which one of those clients was a bad client in a wholesale sort of formula, then you get to take and you can, like Stephen Hamby figured out, he can actually use that customizable builder report and he can go in there and actually see when he starts an advertising campaign and the changes that it's made to his bottom line. So you have the ability to check those metrics of every aspect of your company and see, and you can test your different advertising campaigns. Did it work? Did it not work? If you were targeting a specific group, did that give you your return that you expected? And it allows you to measure every aspect to ensure that you're pointing your company in the proper direction. I'm going to take the blame for that because during the pregame warm up, I was the one yawning the most.
He has been. He's
so.
Oh man, he yawned like I think like 27 times. So
it was. I've been doing live demos of this analytics all day today, so I've been talking myself crazy with this.
And you haven't been pushing at all, correct?
No, I'm helping a friend once in a while if he needs it. And then his wife is going into surgery. So he's going to be out for a little while. So I'm going to watch his company for a couple of days here in a couple of weeks. So I've been trying to make sure and go up. And I picked up some new tools at this show. So
What'd you get?
I finally got some Galexo cold glue. So I'm like the last Earth to ever.
Me too. No, you're not. I'm with you.
That stuff kicks butt. Holy crap.
I've got the original Sergio's kit. I have the sticky tab tape, and that Galexo is the stickiest stuff I've ever used in my whole life.
Not insane. I butterfingered mine, dropped it on the floor, almost ripped a chunk of concrete out. I mean, it was it had to go into the trash. I was stuck together. I mean, I had it buried everywhere, but it works amazing on the right tail spot. Even I thought it was always just a important item, but no, it. I was helping Jesse, giving him a hand, and he was like, "No, dude, use this Galexo for that." And yeah, it went from being a 10-minute project to a 2-minute project. So
that stuff is, I'm like fighting it with my hands sometimes. I'm like trying to get it off. And, the guys in the shop are looking at you. They're like, what is wrong with this dude? They're like, it's just butyl tape. And I'm like, oh no. This is butyl tape with pine tar in it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's stuck to everything. I picked up a set of Daniel Grom's balloon tips.
Yes, sir.
So, and man, I talked with Daniel about this. I'm having like the ultimate love-hate relationship with them because they are narrow, they are thin, and they will get through braces that none of my whale tails. I've got all of the Dentcraft whale tails, and they will get into locations that those Dentcrafts will not touch, and then they'll bring up a dent fast. It's like using a big tip on your push rod. And then you'll get one where you're just like chasing the push point and you can't finish the dent at all with them.
Yep.
It's like, oh, come on.
I got the same problem.
Yeah. You just killed all of this damage that was you just slayed it like nobody's business. And you got this one little teeny one and you spend like 15 minutes and you can't get it. But it's like, man, it's like it covers when it's a dent that tool gets on.
And it's clean.
Oh, yeah, just crazy and fast. I got it through a Subaru brace in the door, doing a door dent.
Yeah.
And that was a spot I could never get a whale tail into. So
yeah, that set of tools is awesome.
Yeah.
The bad part is it takes Blem a while to make them.
Yeah.
So I know the next release of them will be the PDR World Cup. So if you guys are looking to get those, that's the place to get them. And then he will have them at possibly at MTE. So,
yep.
Have you seen this tip yet?
That is the next item I have. And it keeps getting taken from me because Jesse is in love with it and he's waiting. Crow Carb. Now that's Igor. He's hand putting them things together. And I put it on a blending hammer and dude, it's stupid precise.
This thing works really well. I started using it actually today and I was extremely shocked. I've been using the Crown Jewel from Endeavor Dentals, and I've been using this tip for years for crowns and all kind of stuff. But this thing, let me tell you. And every time, like I got it from Kiko, as soon as you see them on there, you have to buy them because they go fast.
They go fast. Yep.
And I think it was like $20. I don't remember what I paid for it, but it's freaking awesome.
It is. It's phenomenal. It does not leave a mark. You can't, unless you hit it with the plastic. But if you touch anywhere with that leather tip, and it's quieter than
Yes.
every other tap down tip, and I've used a lot of the mushrooms, the plastic covered mushroom tips, and yeah, phenomenal tip.
So, what do you see for the future for Mobile Tech RX? What's your projected idea future besides it already being larger than you expected?
Yeah, larger than I ever thought. But more what I see in is going to come down the line is we're finishing. We got one more service that we're going to add in. So you guys have already seen us throw in interiors, and now we've got detail down there. Now there's going to be a paint protection film that's going to come into line.
See, that's actually a great addition, even for a dent guy.
Yep, because if you have to replace that clear bra, it'll be its own category inside of Mobile Tech. I just realized when I put my tablet there, and now I'm a little bit even more like Casper the Friendly Ghost. It's just a little bit brighter. It's going to be like an X-ray. You guys are going to see a skeletal structure.
Now, I've got a question for you on the invoice. So if we do a hail job and we have to remove the clear bra off of the hood to do the repair, will both of them go on the same invoice?
Yes. Yep.
It'll just break it down.
Services. Yep. It'll just break them all down.
That's awesome.
Treat it as a paint protection film. So let's break into here's quickly the some changes when you're using the phone. This is most prevalent on the phone in the actual lot walking. When you tap in on here, when you're in panel pricing and you select your panel and it kicks up to put in the price over here, it's annoyingly slow. It's quite honestly, it's obnoxiously slow. And so what Damon actually came up with this, and what we want to do is when you tap this panel, say we tap this left fender, instead of going over to the right side or changing the screen on your phone, it's going to stay right there, bring up the keyboard, put in the dollar amount, and it's going to throw that dollar amount right underneath that, in that circle right on that.
Okay.
So lot walking will be much, much faster. No more screen bouncing. The screen bouncing is absolutely driving several of us crazy. So we want to get rid of that force move from screen to screen and just make it more fluid. So you're just walking right through it. The screen change is kind of like taking one step back for every 2 steps forward. So we want to keep it so you're driving forward. And then when you're in the hail screens, we want to be able to start getting rid of this right side menu. And that right side menu, as everybody here knows, it's all over inside of here. So, you got it over here, this whole right side menu. Mm-hmm. What we're going to do is start bringing that back similar to it was in before, down below where you see the add, the signature, and the create work order. Mm-hmm. We're going to put that row of buttons back across the bottom again and slowly start getting rid of that right side menu so that it will, again, it'll be speed, especially for those of you that use your phone mainly, because when you're in your phone, then you're always switching back and forth versus just running your thumb across the bottom of the screen.
Now, I do have one thing that customers ask me all the time. So if you bring that up, you're going to add a new customer, create new customer, and they go to put their information in, and everything shows up on the right instead of the left when they're typing. So like my older customers are like, why read left to right? Why is it all everything shows up on the right? So it's very hard for the older people to understand. I'm always like, you have to look on the right. You have to look on the right. So,
yeah. And I think that just has to do with some of the boxes. And some of this is a split, on the tablet. I get spoiled because I do everything on my tablet and on my phone. And then when I'm on my phone, I understand and feel the same way. And the reason for that is there's only so much space on the phone devices.
Of course.
So you can't have it read all of the left side menu without, and be able to have it read. So the way it puts it out, the numbers get a little bit for phone number kind of goes into one. And we are expanding, sitting down with the programmers and going, look, man, when you type this in, it's great as a computer guy. And our programmers, look at everything from their standpoint too. But it's like, I'm a dent guy, man. If I can't double, triple, quadruple check the spelling, I'm screwed because it's going in wrong. I guarantee it.
Yes. Oh yeah, 100%. That was definitely a good upgrade that you guys did to where it pops up on the. I'm like, okay, that's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
So,
Another thing that I really enjoy with the program, and it really, as a company, it makes you look professional. Is a lot of times I'll get accounting or whatever the company, they call and ask, hey, can I get this invoice number, blah 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 blah, because they lost the invoice or didn't have it. How
yeah.
fast you can go in there and send them the email. You know what I mean? They're like, oh my gosh, we don't ever get them this fast. And I'm
Yeah,
like,
solves it. And that's one of my favorite things, even though when I was still chasing all the time, even though I did everything on the tablet, you always get the call on a Friday night at 7,
yes.
and you're at the restaurant with your spouse. And the best story I had was I signed up a couple out of Georgia here earlier this year. And she said, well, we're testing out the system. We're not really sure if we're ready to move from paper or anything like that. She said, but I got to tell you this story. Last Sunday, I'm out hunting. I'm sitting in my tree stand, and I get a text message from our most notorious dealer. Sure enough, they lost an invoice, and he has to have it by noon. This early on a Sunday morning. And she said, that was our test run in Mobile Tech RX. So she opened her phone right there in her tree stand, re-emailed off that invoice from her tree stand. The guy sent her a text saying, got it, love you, thank you, hung up. And she said, I've never had to leave my tree stand. And she, so she said, I called my husband right away and I told him, you're never using another piece of paper again. Because I've never searched through a box of invoices again, ever.
Yeah, and we actually talked about this earlier. It changed my company. It brought it another 100%. You know what I mean? It really brought it to another level. You look at the guys, and some customers are like, man, as soon as you break out an iPad and they're putting their information in, they're like, okay, this isn't just a gypsy in a parking lot. You know what I mean? They're like, okay, this guy's got it going on, and how good the invoices look. And what's been the biggest seller in my market for me is the hail breakdown with the insurance adjusters.
Yeah.
They look at it and they're like, I'm just paying them because we're not looking at a high school test with a bunch of circles on a thing. And, it totally changed everything. It really did. They never question anything. They used to question glue and alcohol, the shop supplies, the corrosion protection. Now it's all broken down and they never question it.
Yeah, you break everything down, and breaking down all of those charges that you do within the system really makes it convenient. Right now, guys are even charging for setup of hood stand time.
See, that's the first I heard of that.
And how I recommend doing that, if you're doing that in Mobile Tech and you're charging for that setup hood stand, can you pop my tablet back up on the screen?
Yeah.
So when you're in, I recommend, if you're going to do that, to do that over here in paint and body, and don't do it in the R&I screen. So I do it when I did it to see how insurance reacted for it. I click on the hood and I go all the way to the bottom under the body repair items, and that's where I add it. And I think I have, do I still have, yeah, hood stand setup. So you set it in like that, and that bouncing of the screen, I'm still bitching about that a lot. So, and then charge whatever you're going to charge, whether it's 2/10 or 5 hours, however you want to do it. But you set it up under the body, because then when you're coming in and it shows up in that print preview, it's going to show it under the hood just the same as all of your other stuff, but it shows it as a body labor time, which is more standard for insurance companies to understand versus R&I. They don't think it, if you tell them it's an R&I item, they're like, well, no, that's not R&I. It's not even related to R&I. Well, technically, yes, it is, but it's an additional body labor time, and that they understand from all the other auto body software. So
that makes sense.
put it in there.
Makes sense.
I set it up as a keyboard shortcut, as you saw me fat finger, because that's how long it's been since I've done that. So it's a joy of getting to talk about hail estimating, but never getting to write it. So
I think another option that I really enjoy about the Mobile Tech RX is the quickness, how you can get in there for the price guides. So you can pull up Paul Corden's, you can pull up the tactical. You know, there's a lot of options in there, and you can pull them up, and I print them all the time, right from the app. Print them, give them to my shops. You know, that was such a key feature that was a big help.
And we've got users that are sending that off to their insurance adjusters, you know, because been a little topic. Guys have been calling me, and we've been talking about it. Hudson Tansey, we just had this conversation a little bit, and insurance companies don't know how to write big damage as paintless dent repair.
Yes.
They know how to write it as conventional, but not as paintless dent repair. So when you label that out in price of dent, and you go through all of those factors, and you put all of that stuff in, when you have that size, you have it mapped out in your photos, and you have all of those factors in, the way it labels that down in that paragraph just makes it really tough to not understand. And to counter argue is almost impossible.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then if need be, you can just email them off a copy of one of those matrices. Or have it printed out if they're coming into your shop and be able to throw it right in front of their face.
I print them and laminate them right here at the house, and it's huge help. Even with my shops, if I have a shop that has a trouble, everything's $75, and I'm like, no, it's not $75. I've been giving those away, and it's a huge help. I'm like, you can't screw this up. Can you bring it up on there? On the screen?
Yeah. So, I mean, as long as you can do a measurement, I mean, you literally can't screw it up. You want one of the matrices up there?
Yeah, just pull a random matrix up, because I don't know if some of these guys don't have it, or, you know, and I explain, and I just did it to a shop the other day, and I was like, look, here's this. If you can measure, which there's a ruler on this piece of paper, if you can measure 3 inches, it's $250.
Yeah, but you're dealing with guys, 3 inches, that's too.
You're right. You're right. You're right.
No, but it really is. Once they have that in their hands and in front of them, the other issue that I had was I had a body shop who was they were the king of the $75 per hail. And what ultimately took the change was I convinced him to get his own subscription to Mobile Tech RX. And then he went from using the State Farm Matrix to the DRP in there, and everything went from being $75 to $125 overnight. Just that fast. And then I told him, hey, I need to come in and look at all the Super Duties, the aluminum Super Duties. I'm like, I look at those. I agree to the numbers on those. And I grabbed his phone from him one day, and I'm running around this Super Duty, and he's like, dude, I wanted to poke the buttons. It turned writing for him. Hail estimating was a chore, just a bothersome chore.
Yeah.
And it turned it into fun for him. And then he got a chance to see all of those additional markups that are inside of Mobile Tech RX and see that, wait a second, I wasn't charging for this. I should have been charging for this.
Yeah.
I wasn't doing this. I should have been charging for that.
I did the same thing, like with high strength steel. You don't know. Like all these new Honda doors, I never knew they were high strength steel. You just don't know. That's huge. That comparative pricing 100% pays for itself every month.
Yeah. Yep.
If you have Mobile Tech RX and you don't have comparative pricing, you're losing money.
Some of those Hondas are a trick too, man. We've had to delve in hard on trying to find that data for that high strength steel. And there was, we had some confusion, and a user actually brought it to us a while back, and I can't remember if it was a Toyota or a Honda. But it's listed two ways. One software has it as a high strength steel panel, and the reality is only the inner panel was ultra high strength, and the outside skin was mild steel. So that was the crazy thing. And yet one very popular software out there lists the whole thing as high strength steel, and then it turns out only the outer skin is.
Mm.
So believe me when I say that comparative pricing, it's worth every penny, and the pennies that it costs us to do is enormous.
And it gets tricky.
So
It does get tricky because sometimes you'll pull up a car and it'll say that the roof is high strength steel, and technically it's not. It's the bracing that's high strength steel in the roof.
right, and those are the ones that we really we're hunting on and trying to make sure that we have those properly. But again, it goes back to the same as that door. We got a sheet from an insurance company that showed that as a high strength steel panel
Yeah, yeah.
in their system. So we were like, okay, now we've got paperwork to back it up. But then when we get into the OEM data sheet that somebody finally sends us from a pay software or something, then we see that, wait a second, it's bracing, not the outer skin. And you have to be careful how you word it. So we're digging through that. We're hoping to get a whole lot more data. And it's huge. We're constantly evolving it. So
Well, you're only getting certain information too. You know what I mean? These manufacturers aren't the easiest to put the information out there.
nope. And this was heavily talked about. I just did a conference, and I can bring that comparative pricing up here in just a little bit. But I was just at an electronic conference, a collision industry electronic conference, and a hot topic is OEMs and information. It's vital on these cars with these ADAS systems, these advanced driver assistance systems. And getting the calibrations done on those properly. If we unbolt something or unplug the wrong thing and not doing the scanning, not doing the calibrations, and OEMs are slow to put out this data now, and everything involving the repairs. Well, certain high strength steels and ultra high strength steels can't have heat applied to them. You can't use a normal MIG welder when a body shop puts it back together. But trying to get that data as to what's safe to weld, what requires specific types of welders, that information is just as hard for the auto body industry as a whole, not just us in the PDR world.
Which is scary because a lot of that's safety.
It is. It's huge, and I'm when I say a huge topic, there's a lot of pressure on OEMs to provide that information. So you're going to see more and more of it in the next 5 years, and it evolving around. So.
Let's get into some of these questions. We'll start with this first one. This is Mr. John Vidine, the Dent Reaper.
Mr. Dent Reaper. They can't open the attachments. Now, if you're emailing from server, let's split that screen one more time. Can we do that and leave John's message up there? So let's see if we can see this here. Darn it. All right. Well, let's pull John's thing down. All right. At the bottom of the screen, we see the email and email from device. So email now sends everything as an attachment or as a link that they have to click and then download them. So when they get that and they open up that email, they have to download the PDF and each of those photos separately. And a lot of insurance companies aren't allowing that open that link to that, and so we are modifying that. Email from device will send the old way, and that will send them all as the attachment, so they'll all see those right in the screen as they open up that email. And now the reason for that change was we are getting too many companies during these hail times. Insurance companies are putting pressure for more and more and more photos. Well, email servers only handle X size. So, and that's right about 10 to 14 photos, depending upon the email server that's out there. And if you overload that, say you're sending 15, 20 photos every single time, it might let it go through, but it sees it as a repetitive nature. Then it automatically black flags you for 24 hours and your emails will never go out. That email hosting server will stop sending your emails. If you continue after that 24-hour period, there's one company that I know of that got blacklisted permanently from an email hosting server that is the largest in the world.
Hmm.
So their email got permanently black flagged because of how large of emails they were sending repeatedly, even after warning after warning. So by doing this as the links and the email, that will get around that. You can send 1,000 photos if you wanted to. And because I have to download them all. Now, that's going to evolve over the next month. The programming team is buried deep into that thing. And it's going to evolve where when they click on it, they're going to have a note that says, you know, click here to open the landing page. They're going to be able to view all of the photos. They're going to be able to view the PDF and then select what they want to download. And that should get around a few of the other issues that we're seeing. But it will truly allow unlimited number of photos to be emailed off.
Nice.
Now, a couple of other major email hosting services, and I've just found this out within the last month, are actually talking about putting a 5 megabyte limit on emails. So, for those of us who don't speak nerd, 5 megabytes is almost a PDF. There, you won't even get a single photo in it. And this is a huge email hosting server that handles the largest percentage of emails transferred in the United States. So if they do that, the email from device is going to become obsolete as well, out of force, because it's completely out of our hands. We don't get any control or say over this. So right now, email from device, you need to have an email attached to your device, so whatever that device is connected to when you set up the device, and then it will send it from that email, and it will send it as an attachment, and that'll get around that sending the links.
Okay. Here's the other one. He had an issue not being able to see the supplement breakdown since the new update.
That should have all gone away. So if you're still having that issue right now, I would recommend to you, doesn't matter what platform you're on, Apple or Android, delete the app, re-download it. You won't lose any data. That's my default. If you call our tech support, they tell you to log out, log back in. John's default is I just delete the dang thing.
That's what I did.
Download it.
I did it. It wouldn't load on my phone right after the update, so I deleted it, reinstalled it, and it was fine.
Yeah, and the reason for that is a lot of us all have auto updates, and I killed auto update on all my devices, honestly, because since iOS 12, for those of you with Apple, iOS 12, for some reason, auto update would only update a third or a half of Mobile Tech RX. It was like it was trying to update too many other things, and our file size was larger, so it just rejected it. And so guys were getting just problematic uploads. So now I manually look at all of mine, and then if you're having an issue like this where you're not seeing that, delete, download from the store. That's going to guarantee you 100% you have the newest version of the app every time. So
the going back to the pictures, it's actually saved my butt a couple times. So I don't send a lot of the pictures to the insurance companies or any of that. You know what I use it for? Prior damage.
Yeah.
So if I have a car drop off at the shop, I'll go around, look at the car, snap the photos. It's all time stamped. It's all in there. And then when I email them the invoice, they have all that information. And I label everyone, prior damage, right front, prior damage, and it just covers your butt.
Well, you'll be happy to know we are going to have prior damage screens in the system as well.
Look at that. I'm going to keep talking so we get some more information.
Yeah, I kind of forgot about that because I still haven't seen the prototypes of them yet. So they're in programming. Manny, class at Education Day, I'm going to talk with Matt a little bit. And right now we don't have anything planned, but we didn't for the last one, and I still had a class. So we will get it posted up early. As Matt and I've got 3 more shows yet this year. So we'll get through those, and then we're gearing up straight for MTE, and we will put them out. So comparative pricing. All right, you want to throw my tablet back up? We can show pricing. So close that down. What we've done in comparative pricing here is, let me bring up my world famous Toyota. Let's see if this thing can catch that in low light. So All right, so once you have a year, make, model, you don't necessarily have to have the VIN number in, but you do have to have a year, make, model. And then in the lower right, you see the comparative pricing. So what comparative pricing is, and there's a description right here under the little I, we've taken an OEM replacement panel, the labor, paint, and materials, and lumped it all into $1 amount on your preset labor rate. So here you see the labor rate for this test account is at $75 an hour. So at $75 an hour to put a replacement hood on this particular Toyota while blending the fenders is $1,537.50. Now, if you know your shops well enough and they don't blend, or if it's black, you can remove that blending and you can see that price change. The other thing that you can see is the NADA book value. So this gives you the book value for this Toyota, and it sets at 100%, as you see the little plus minus. Now, if you know your insurance company totals cars, say, at 70%, you can drop that book value down to 70%, and you know that that car is going to total if your repair gets above $10,885.
I'm learning a lot tonight too. Look at that.
Yeah. So you guys in Colorado who are seeing insurance companies total at 40 and 50%, you know you're not going to be wanting to push this Toyota up above $7,000. You know, if you're halfway through the car and you've hit the $7,000 marker, then you know you're just going to throw the whole car away. Don't waste your time spending hours writing an estimate. So in the hood, you can see the little blue dot next to the camera. Anytime there's a blue dot next to the camera or the little sheet of paper, that means there's either a note or a photo attached. So we click that little blue dot, and the X-ray photos are the backside of any panel. In this case, we've got the hood blanket off, and we can see that when it comes time for the roof, the headliner is down, and we can see where all the roof bracing is. It's the same way through anything that we have access to. So like the front door, it's got the trim panel off. So you can see at the top, you can see if you took just the belt molding off, you would have pretty decent access through the top on that door. So they're the X-ray photos. These get shared to us by mostly you, the users. It originally started with Eric, Damon, and Dustin and myself raiding as many body shops in the Austin, Texas area as we first started Mobile Tech RX back in 2015. The bulk of the photos are now coming from you, our users, and you can submit those photos to photos@mobiletechrx.com. So if you're in a shop or you have something apart and there's no photo, if you send those in, then you can get your photos put into there. Now we do have
they'll pay you 12 cents a photo.
I think they're putting some credits towards, now don't quote me on this because everything's changed and I'm not on the board of directors anymore, but it was offering some credits towards your comparative pricing on that for lots of photos submitted. But we do have some users who've submitted photos that have their face in them. So there's some random cars. There is. I know I'm in one for, I think it's a Infiniti QX45. Colton Lammy's in there in one of them playing with the hood. There's some, you know, so if you get creative, you can have a little bit of fun and your photo might make it in. So
that's funny.
What part of the program, if you're starting a new PDR business, ultimately just start with the basic package. $65 a month. It still is. You know, the only thing that went up in the price change here recently was just comparative pricing and the analytics. That's it. So if you're starting out new, start with that base subscription price of $65. You can go to our YouTube page. It's just look up Mobile Tech RX on YouTube. I have tons and tons of tutorial videos, how-tos covering every, not to mention all the services within the app, understanding the workflow of the app, ideas and tips and tricks for walking lots, doing retail estimating. And so look up that, but just start it. And the reason I say that, and a lot of people don't, you know, until they've really used it, those that have been on paper, until they've gone to a tablet, you don't realize the consistency that the estimating system gives you, for one, Staying consistent makes you look better to all of your accounts, whether they're a retail or a wholesale. That consistency is a key, because if they see something, they consider it a weakness, and then they exploit every weakness. And when you're new, it's easy to get emotionally attached to the number that you say. And by using your device, it doesn't matter, phone, tablet, it removes the price from you and attaches it to the device.
Yep.
And the device is an anonymous device that your customer lives and dies by. They interact with their family, they interact with their friends, they get their news, everything comes from that device. So, phone or iPad? The great
iPad.
I'm 45. iPad Pro.
And the one reason I use both, and I do get into trouble sometimes when I'm bouncing back and forth. Every now and then it'll do some weird stuff.
Yeah, I'll tell you a little piece of advice going back and forth like that. Whenever you go back and forth, don't leave it on even like this screen here.
Mm-hmm.
Go all the way back to the main menu when you leave a device. If you're going to use multiple devices, and I have to do this too because I demo between my phone and my tablet a lot. So make sure you go back to the home screen. Then when you open it up on your next device, you're ready to rock and roll. By having it open in that same estimate, like I was just in, even though I'm on this screen, my phone then will attempt to overwrite everything on this screen. But the second I open up this tablet, the tablet, because it's been closed down and gone dark, isn't updating.
Yep.
And then the second I hit that back arrow, I've erased everything I did on my phone.
Yep.
Every update.
Been there.
So if you send it all the way back till it's in your estimate list, then you can change from device to device without an issue.
The reason I really like the iPhone, I mean the iPad, it's just larger. If you're writing a hail estimate, you can roll through that thing fast. And the other thing I've realized, you know, I deal with a lot of older people, and they're always scared of getting sick, and they're always scared to touch the cell phone. You know, they're sitting there and they're like, you know, on the iPad, you're not always up to your mouth. It's a lot faster. I don't know. It just, for one, it looks really professional when you get to a customer's house and you say, you know, can you fill this out for me?
Yeah. Now, if it's a younger person, they love to type it on the phone.
Yes.
And when I do retail, I'll tell everybody, I tell everybody this every time I teach a course. I have not typed in a customer's name or email address since I started using Mobile Tech RX.
No.
Not once. I let them do it, and honestly, it changes the whole dynamic of the estimate process. They are happy, and it doesn't matter how old the person is. It's like, oh, I'm part of the process.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
yeah.
And it's like, great, you know, because it's like $25,000 to fix your door. You know? And, but they're part of the process, so it kind of it changes it. But then I spell horribly and I type even worse. So it's great. Get that in there. And the other thing that I found is getting that email address.
Yes.
When I ask a customer for their email address, it's like, you're going to sign me up for penis enlargement?
Exactly.
Selling this too. But I give them my phone or my tablet, and it's like, hey, if you want a digital copy of all of this, include your email.
Mm-hmm.
I capture their email 100% of the time with no question.
And you guys don't sell their email addresses, correct?
Yeah, we don't sell any email address. I freaking hate spam, so I'd kick my own ass if I spammed my customers. So and we don't report to Carfax either. Nothing that goes in, because I'll be honest, if they report to Carfax, my personal Grand Cherokee has been used on I don't know how many demo videos, and I wrote $1.3 million demo video estimate with it. So I would be screwed on that.
Can you imagine?
I would never be able to get rid of it. This Toyota's got like $2 million worth of estimates onto it. So we don't report to Carfax even. So, because I don't even know if this Toyota, Eric acquired that VIN tag, and we've been using it in shows for 4 years. So I don't know where it came from. That Toyota is floating out there somewhere in the world.
And I can give you a little credit. I remember when you guys really first started this thing, and you're so much more fluent with the technical end because you're just a dent guy. You know what I mean? You legitimately are just, the first time I met you was at MTE, and you were just a dent guy. You're like, I'm just a dent guy. We're just trying to put something together that I needed. So it's nice to see you much more comfortable. You weren't real comfortable on camera when you first were getting on, and you could see in the in your webinars, you're like staring at the computer, doing your thing.
That's because when I'm trying to type,
now you're much more fluent, so you're doing good. It's I'll tell you, if you guys don't have this, you're really missing out. And I before I bought Mobile Tech RX, I sat down with a bunch of companies. Auto Recon, what was that? What's the other one? PDR.
Well, there's
I don't
PDR.
remember. Yeah, PDR Mobile, the Auto Recon, and then Ding Stinger, and there was something else there.
And Sullivan, PDR Estimator.
Yes.
And yeah, Sullivan's a really nice guy.
And you know what sold me? You know what sold me to Mobile Tech RX?
What's that?
That it flagged you when you're doing multiple cars, and say you've done that car before, when it flags you and told you that it was duplicate VIN number. That's what sold me. That's what sold me to Mobile Tech RX.
Yeah. I tell you, somebody did something where that got turned off a little while back, and that lasted about 0.3 seconds. And in about 0.3 seconds, our poor tech support guys, the phones just went ballistic until we got that fixed. It was crazy. We couldn't get our programmers to get that done fast enough. And I really have to give some credit out. For those of you who, reach out to me on Facebook or whatever, if you've not reached out to our tech support crew, they work overtime. In fact, we just put a 4th person in that office now, Josie. So she just got started. Micah's moving a little bit less out of the tech support, but those guys they just crush it. I call them for stuff, honestly, because it's like, and I message them for things pretty regularly because they're awesome at what they do. I sucked at tech support. If I helped you out, that was great. And I can do simple stuff like what we're discussing, but when it comes to the computer, man, we hired the right computer crew to do it. And we put on a lot of new programmers too. And, some of the stuff that we've seen lately, a few of the bugs, a few of the mistakes, that's the growing pains of getting new programmers all put in, getting everybody on the same page, understanding. Hopefully those are long behind us. As long as iOS would, kindly quit pulling up their own software, it would really help us out a lot. So
how many users?
North of 3,000 was the number that Matt gave me. So wow. I think we're working our way into 4. The redesign we did lose, yeah. Yeah. I'm with you, Josh. So we lost a few during the redesign. We had a rough, there's no denying. We had a rough first 6 months of this year. It was tough.
Oh, it was rough, bro. Like you guys were burning at the ears because it was rough, because all of us, we don't like to learn new things.
No.
We really don't.
We acknowledge that we did that. We passed that out in the absolute wrong method. Starting in November of the year before, we should have been posting the changes and how it was going to look and how it was going to flow. We got bit. Well, we had some bugs. Then Android dropped probably the crappiest update ever, and that just fried Androids. And then iOS, right as we're getting on top of it, iOS throws out iOS 12, which Apple acknowledged to be a pile of crap because now we're already on iOS 13. And now iOS 13 come out with so many bugs that it lasted 1 week before its first set of bug updates. So
I've got a question for you. So one thing that I'll bring up your little screen share because you may want to, when you go in the back office and you're trying to export stuff over to QuickBooks, is there a way for you guys, instead of individually clicking each one of them to send it to QuickBooks, is there a way to highlight whatever is not already there and send it over all together, or no?
Not yet, but we are doing some kind of refinement. So we're kind of feeling it out. Originally, when we first started syncing into QuickBooks Online, it was an auto sync,
Mm-hmm.
and that caused more issues than it ever solved with text. So right now, I mean, you do have the ability to come in, narrow it all down on them, and then you can sort over here between QuickBooks Online which ones have synced and which ones haven't by just clicking this.
Now, one problem I do have, and it's been going on for a while, when you click, so say I'm on my phone and I go in here and I click where the QuickBooks is, it doesn't make it green. You just see it pop up successful, and then you go down and you run down all the ones that you have to already, that you still have to do. I have to get out of that and log back in.
I just found out about that, and as I was getting ready to update because we changed this aspect up here at the top of the screen. So I was getting ready to do another video about it, and I sent a ticket involving that's not changing automatically. You have to refresh the screen in order for them to go green, and so they are going to work on that, and they'll get that fixed.
Okay.
So.
Now, the other thing that I do sometimes when it's not highlighted and I hit it again, it'll input that invoice back into QuickBooks and make it a double invoice.
Yeah.
But,
so I've got them looking into that.
it's still the minor things. You know what I mean? I mean, it's
in the back office, we now have one tech who's just phenomenally talented. All the stuff that you have that you really like that has changed over the last 8 months is all due to him. And so they're keeping that list going. And honestly, I make a full list of my my bitches and wish list, I call it.
Yeah.
And then I periodically send that off, and they just start refining and cleaning. And there's going to be a ton more to it. We're getting this last service put in, and then it's just going to be a couple hard years of just cleaning, refining. I talked about a few of those at the beginning of the show for changes within the app. There's going to be a ton of it in the back office portal because right now you can't look at your estimates and everything else in the back office portal. That's all going to be available in that back office.
Nice.
Cleaning up this QuickBooks, you're going to have a bit more options. We just went through some of that stuff today on items that you can and information that ports over and ways that you can port that information over. So there's going to be a few of those that come down the line over the next 24 months.
One thing that you guys have improved that I am so happy about it, the new VIN decoder is badass.
Yeah, we've gone through, I think, 3 or 4 VIN decoders. Some of the companies have gone away. We had a really, really great one a long time back, but that company just folded and went away. So we were forced to change. There was one that didn't function on half the devices out there, so we couldn't continue to use that one. And it's been a rocky road. And then what some of what we found is the new camera systems. VIN decoders were not keeping up with the new camera technology that was hitting the newest devices. So I do have a user out with an iPhone 11. He had his the first second they went on sale, so I stayed in touch with him right away, and he said he's having no problems. I'm hoping that we're going to see the Mercedes with this new camera technology. We're going to be able to pick up those codes on those Mercedes now.
Yeah, I mean, it's unbelievably fast now. Like, you just barely get up to it and you hear it click, you hear it make the sound, and it makes the green arrows. And let me tell you, it's amazing.
Yeah, for a while, we tried to get it even a little bit more sensitive, but it started grabbing every code that it saw. And if you've ever seen a rental car door jam,
oh yeah,
they'll have 5 or 6 barcodes in there, and it was virtually impossible. I tried to get into there once on an Android, and it snagged every code as fast as the camera went by it. It was snagging codes out of everything. So we had to dial it back just a little bit and kind of come up with a happy medium. So.
Yeah, it's awesome. And the update right now is the best so far. So you guys are definitely heading in the right direction. You know what I mean? I mean, I'm a huge advocate. I tell people about this thing all the time. I'm like,
Yeah.
this is the best thing out there. You know.
Well, we know we're not perfect. We do make our mistakes, but we're learning from them. We're getting better. We should see these last couple updates all the way up until Apple's fun and the change to the emails, which while I explained that, I did not explain this. That accidentally got pushed live, and that's why it was a surprise. I was supposed to be able to give you guys 2 weeks notice, and it accidentally got tied with adding the other services onto the PDF, and it all got sent live when it shouldn't have. So that was our mistake as a company. Nobody realized that was put into the same build, and but yeah, that's our last update, the big update that included the additional services. I mean, they were virtually bug free.
Yeah, it's been.
Now we're dealing with, like I said, there's over 3,000 users. Just about every user might have 1 or 2 devices. Some of you are running 3, 4 devices, and I'm one of those, so I can't really say much.
And all it'll do is log you out of one. You know what I mean?
Right.
I find that.
But it's no big deal. We don't really care. But when you're and you think about that, so if we take 3 devices and 3,000 people, that's 9,000 devices. The odds of finding a lemon in those devices is pretty good. So,
Yeah.
And that's where our technical guys come in.
The one thing I really like is just like this week when that Apple update came in and everybody was having problems. You were on it. You were on it. Uninstall it, reinstall it. I mean, you were on top of it.
That one got blindsided to us by Apple. We were all prepped for iOS 13. We'd back checked everything. Everything worked with iOS 12. Apple makes a change just like moments, days, or hours before they sent out 13. And we were scrambling to get that fixed. And then it bugged out on 12. And it was like, great. And then what does Apple do? But turn around 5 days later and release a bug fix.
Yeah. And I just got it today.
Our programmers are scrambling, trying to get everybody and everything caught back up to a change that Apple made that only turned around and bit them in the butt too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of a bummer onto that. And I tried to get it out to as many people as we could. And we do get our butts chewed. So for those of you that are like, I want to strangle him. Yeah, a few people.
Hey, I've reached out to you on a Sunday because I was pulling my hair out for like 3 hours and you were like, walk me right through the thing. So believe me, guys.
Be on top of everything. I don't get a day off. I go to the grocery store with a tablet under my armpit in case somebody has a question or is pinging me on Facebook, anything like that. So try to be on top of it and put that stuff out. Our mistakes, when we made a mistake, we've had programmers that have worked till clean past midnight to fix their own mistake. So we try to be the company that we want to use at the end of the day. That's really all it boils down to.
I will say it again. If you don't have it, you're losing money. It's a cost. There are a couple new guys in here. It is a cost. I will guarantee you're going to make your money back every month.
Yeah.
You really are. I mean, it's so much fluent and easy and professional, and you're going to make your money back.
Yeah. And if you had Clifton and Randy on, they learned a whole new way of making money.
Yeah, the price of dent.
Yep, using price of dent and large hail. And yeah, there's ways that, and the system is so big anymore. Yeah. There's so much data in there. It's crazy.
I just said that. I was like, look how far it's come. It's pretty crazy.
Yep.
And
there's a few shortcuts that I found that our CEO didn't even know was there. He was like, oh, really? He's like, man, I'd have loved that when I was working with it.
Well, I appreciate everything you've done, bringing this whole idea to what it is now. It seems like it was a struggle uphill, but now you guys are rolling downhill and, it's growing faster than you can hold on, So for me, it's super exciting.
Yep. So 2020 is going to be just phenomenal. Hopefully, data that goes in is just going to be crazy. So
I'm excited.
Yeah,
you got me for life, because it really is, man. I'm not even saying this because I know you and you're on my show. It's just a great program, you know.
Well, I appreciate you letting me come on and talk, and I'm always happy to come in and interact with your users. I know I talk with most of you guys on Facebook, and some of you haven't. So, but yeah, you can reach out. You can find me, John Renstrom, on Facebook. You know, if you got, as long as there's something automotive related in your description, PDR, detail, anything like that, I'll friend request you. I cancel the hookers. That's just throw away the hookers.
You guys will be at Orlando, correct?
We will be at Orlando. There's no way we're missing that show. So,
Good.
and as soon as I know if we're putting on a classroom, I will get it out posted and put it out live. So, and thank you, Manny.
There are a couple events coming up too. I want to mention you have the Mega Media event in October. So if you guys, I just talked to John Hiley a couple days ago. He said there's a few spots that he can fit a couple more people in. So if you guys are interested in that, sign up for that. The other event that looks like it may be the last one is the Stanliner event. So he's having that the week of Mobile Tech Expo. So if you guys are going to do that, I don't know how many more times Kaz is going to come to the U.S. So it's right there. I mean, with his age and his health. What's that?
You're going to want to sign up for that now. If you can, you're going to want to sign up early. That thing's going to be sold out fast.
Yes.
So,
and the good thing is Thomas put a lot of time into the facility. So they have a ton of space. So they have cars, and it's going to be a little more in depth than the one that they had at Don's shop. But
nice.
I just, I think it's going to be a good event. And if there's a ton of West Coasters in here right now, you got to go to Orlando Mobile Tech Expo. So it's different than Vegas. I talked to a guy today and I said, it's different. Vegas was different.
Yep.
But Orlando's out of control.
Yeah. Orlando's the big show. We'll see if Vegas grows at all or not. Yeah. It was a good show. It was a great chance for us to get a lot of our new people in front of you, the users. And
I think it was quality.
So, yep.
It was a lot of really good conversations, some really quality. It just was different, but I actually liked it because it was a little more relaxing.
Yeah. I didn't get much relaxing, but I didn't have to walk as many miles. It was a little bit smaller.
You're right.
But then again, I would fall out of one booth and be right in the next one where I ended up talking for a long period of time. So
I mean, I talked to you after, but we were at the show and you're like, I want you to meet our new marketing guy. And I was standing there for like 10 minutes and I was like, I'll talk to him in a little while, and then never caught back up to you. So
yeah.
And then if you guys want to do those quick little videos or text for Maria, there's my email address. Shoot it off. Get you in there. We're going to do it for the next 6 months for her. So it's all private. It won't be on Facebook. It won't be anything social. It's going directly to her. So
yeah, awesome. Then she needs all the love and support she can get.
Definitely. And Lee, send me your address so I can get you this glue. Thanks to Anson PDR. Get you guys some glue out here. And John, I really appreciate it, man.
Well, thanks a lot, Ryan, for having us on. So, and I'll have to make sure to do the show more.
Hey, we'll bring you on every couple months. Let me know when there's an update, and we'll just bring you back on.
Yeah. We get some of these changes put out, and I'll stay in touch with you, and we'll come back on and give your viewers a chance to see those.
Definitely.
Let you guys know what's popping down the line. We're gonna, despite the email thing, we are going to try to give some few weeks notice. So, and part of that is for me to be able to come on shows like Dent Digest and be able to announce those changes. So
good.
Get those so that no surprises.
Hey, it's always something. You know how it is. It's technology, my friend.
Yep.
Now you're in the you're not a dent guy anymore. Now you're in technology.
Yes, these computers hate it when I hit them with a hammer, though.
Well, look, guys, we're going to close it up. I appreciate you coming on, John, and all you guys watching. And remember, guys, next week at our new time still at 9 Eastern Standard Time, I'm going to surprise you with the guest I have coming on, so it's going to be a good one. But I appreciate it, and I'll see you guys next week. And remember, guys, keep it real. See ya.
Take care.